Welcome to the VAR review, where we once again look over some of the big incidents and talking points from Scottish football and try and understand the processes that lead referees to making their decisions. We'll hear the VAR audio as well to get that extra insight. So let's introduce, as always, Willie Collum, the head of referees at the Scottish FA, who joins us for another very busy show, Willie, because it's been an extremely busy time in Scottish football. So let's go back to late December. Fir Park, Kilmarnock the visitors, and a well-publicised incident involving Dan Casey of Motherwell, who was sent off. Let's take a look.
Time to free kick, the time to...
Ball. Just runs into him.
Danny, in you come!
Okay, yeah, so he just runs into the player, nothing more.
Bit of pushing between them, 15 and 11.
Okay, run it through after it, please.
Red card number 15.
Violent conduct, off you go!
Okay, I'm happy with the initial tackle.
Walk away, we'll have a look!
I'll go
We'll have
back
a
to
look!
main and
David, for me, violent conduct, he grabs Danny Armstrong by the throat.
So there's a pull after it.
Right.
Let's go,
Number
run
11,
through, we've got it tight.
And we'll check it,
Comes
we start
over
walking. Walk. Walk. Start walk. Dave, on, start walking.
Here.
11,
Okay.
Kilmarnock.
He's initially on the chest, his arm slid up from the chest.
And then he's sent off there.
Is that the only
Sorry,
angle?
foul.
You see if the hand
This is
slides
your
up.
best angle,
Let's go slow, but slow-mo. Chris, confirm the offence.
Yeah, violent conduct, he grabs Danny Armstrong by the throat for me. Danny Armstrong, aggressive behaviour, caution.
So for me, I agree that it slides up, starts on the body. There is some contact in the throat, but sliding up the body. Yeah.
I think he's grabbed his shirt and his shirt slid up his body. I don't think it's a grab on it. I don't think it's a violent act.
Chris, I'm going to recommend an on-field review. Please come to the screen,
Okay.
make the signal.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Chris, when you come to the screen, you're going to see the contact starting on the player's body, and it slides up towards the throat area, but it starts on his body and slides. For me, it's a more a reckless act. There's not a clear grab of the player's throat.
Yeah. I'm seeing hand on chest. It goes up into the bottom of his chin, David.
For me, it starts in the body, it slides up.
Is this starting the body?
Drop full speed.
We've not got any other angles to show you really other than this.
David, I'm going to stick with on field here. For me, he puts the force into the throat for me. He starts slow, I get, but he makes contact with the chin and the throat for me. Just swoosh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with it, David. Okay, thank you.
OK, Willie, a lot was said about that incident at the time. So ultimately, is that the right outcome, and what did you make of the process?
So firstly, for us, this is not a red card. The referee shows good awareness on field to immediately award the free kick, keep a focus in the incident, but then unfortunately misjudges what happens next in terms of issuing a red card here for violent conduct. The VAR and the VAR go into a deep check on this, you know, as we would expect them to. They're looking at the images. They don't need lots of camera angles here. They focus on the main angle to see the contact. They listen to what the referee's described, and then they make a decision to bring the referee to the monitor to review this decision. We've learned a few lessons from this decision. Ultimately, of course, we take the learning point that the decision is incorrect. But when the referee comes to the monitor, he's shown the incident about 4 times on repeat in slow motion. We would much prefer in an incident like this, when the referee comes to the monitor, he's able to see it at full speed. Watching this incident at full speed, is there any excessive force? Is there any brutality? Is the contact negligible? These are the criteria we need to look at for violent conduct. And ultimately, we think a yellow card should have been shown here for a reckless action, aggressive behaviour, and nothing more. When they then show the referee at the monitor in full speed, he's already watched it 4 times slowed down. But regardless of whether it's slowed down, sped up here, we expect the right outcome to be reached here. And the VAR and the AVAR do their job, bringing the referee to the monitor, but ultimately the referee sticking with the red card is wrong.
Because there will be times that slow motion is good, and I know people don't always like it and they think it distorts things, but maybe if it's a tackle, you need to see that point of contact. And so is this one that you just don't really gain anything from slow motion? Is that the learning point for you on this one?
Absolutely, Gordon. It's a really good point you make, because we've talked in this show before about point of contact, slow motion, still images have their place in the game in VAR because it's important to gauge some incidents like that. But here it actually lends weight to reaching the wrong decision, because if you slow anything down in this kind of action, it makes it look worse. But regardless, even making it look worse here, there is not enough for violent conduct for us.
There was another talking point within the game though, a penalty incident. Kilmarnock felt they were wronged on that one. Do you agree with them?
Yeah, I agree. Yep, there should have been a penalty kick for a step on foot. Again, we've coached the referees and the VARs to be very focused in the penalty area, focus on the actions, particularly of the defender. They're the person that's going to make the contact, the illegal contact. So focus on that, get a real view. But back to what I told the VAR and the VAR after that match in particular was what the referee's describing, because Motherwell were awarded the free kick in that incident, is what the referee's describing, what the pictures are showing, and in that case it wasn't. Again, there should have been an on-field review and we would expect a penalty kick to be awarded.
OK, well, Fir Park clearly the place to be for these incidents, because let's move on to another one that involved Motherwell, and another high-profile one, the Rangers goalkeeper Jack Butland involved there as well. So let's run it through and see what Willie has to say about this one.
OK, be ready. Now. Go. No.
Foul. Let's get a foul.
Just delay. Just delay so that we can check it, please, Kevin. Okay. Can I see it from the goal line camera, please?
What we want is to make sure he's disrupted Jack Butland's ability. Jack, it's in the goal area. Jack Butland's ability to fairly play the ball.
He's got a shoulder, arm on his
So
shoulder.
watch Tony Watt. Can I watch it full speed, please?
Yep.
Go.
So his arms,
Arms on the shoulder.
arms up onto the arm,
And
and
the
as the goalkeeper's trying to play, so
Yeah.
we can support the on-field
He
decision.
supports-
So the arms across the arm
Yeah,
is
yeah.
challenging
Yeah, and
the
he's
goalkeeper.
tall.
So as he's trying to use his arm to punch the ball, the attacker puts his left arm into the goalkeeper and stops him from raising his arm.
I
further.
see. Stop me, Sam.
Another angle as
Yeah.
well if you'd like.
Check complete. Check complete.
Yep, good.
Good to restart the game.
OK, Willie, contact on goalkeepers is always a hot topic for debate. Talk us through this one.
So this decision here is an important one to highlight, Gordon, for us, because sometimes when you talk with VAR, people expect right, wrong, black, white. We need to talk often about subjective decisions. And I know people dispute that and say it's not what they want to hear, but it's not always plain sailing. There needs to be an element of subjectivity about any kind of decision making, even involving VAR. This decision here, the referee immediately awards a free kick, allows the process to take place appropriately because he doesn't blow the whistle till the ball goes in the goal. But for him, the Motherwell attacker does enough to impede the goalkeeper here, affects him being able to play the ball properly, or challenge for the ball properly, and he disallows a goal. The VAR and the VAR again go into a thorough check. I like how they use a variety of angles as well to make a judgment in it. They don't just use the goal line camera, they also use the high behind the goal to get a good accurate view. And there's nothing there to tell them that what the referee has said is wrong. If they bring the referee to the monitor there, what are they going to show that's different from what he's described? If you're talking about the decision process on field here, the referee deems it as contacting the goalkeeper, which is illegal. I think to add to that, what doesn't do the Motherwell attacker any favours here is that the Motherwell attacker does not play the ball at all. The ball's put into the goal by the goalkeeper himself. So perhaps if there's contact, any kind of contact, but there's also supported by the attacker playing the ball, there's more elements there to support allowing the goal. This is a subjective decision for us, and regardless of what the referee had awarded here, the VAR would have supported that decision. So if the referee says the contact's not enough, I'm going to allow the goal.
You'd have been OK with that?
Yeah, we would have supported both decisions.
Where does this one sit then on football expectation? Because I think it probably falls into that category that if that's your team, you think that's a goal for sure. Is there enough contact there? You hear the VAR audio saying, his hands on his arm. Is that not OK in a crowded penalty box? Does the goalkeeper not contact the striker as well? Does football not really want goals like that to stand?
There'll always be contacting goalkeepers, and we spoke in the last show about are goalkeepers protected in some way? Of course they're not. We need to look at every incident in isolation. When you're talking about though goal, no goal. Look at the KMI panel for this decision. 3 against 2, you know, to say in favour of a goal. So perhaps that lends weight to us as referees and reflecting on what does football expect here. But these are so difficult decisions and fine margins as well. I think we need to be careful to say, could we describe whatever had been given there as categorically wrong?
Funny you say that. I wonder then if we're in the same category there with another incident in this match. There was a Lennon Miller tackle that he remained on the field for. There was clearly a debate about whether this should have been a review and a red card. Is that the same thing then? Would you support either way, whatever the referee comes?
Again, it's a good clip to highlight there, Gordon, because it's exactly the same here. You know, if you look at that, there are elements to support the red, but there's also elements to support the yellow. There's a touch in the ball. Is it as much force? You know, if you were to look at elements to support the red, there's a buckle in the ankle. Is it enough? So, again, for us here, regardless of what the referee awards, we would support either decision, as long as the on-field communication tells us what we're seeing in the images. In other words, if a referee says here, you know, there's absolutely zero contact, there's nothing in that, that's more element to support for VAR intervention. But if the referee sees it, sees a point of contact, doesn't think there's enough force, you bring the referee to the monitor then to look at what he's just described.
Yeah, maybe a good reminder then that not everything is black and white, right and wrong all the time. Sometimes there's an element of subjectivity. Let's switch focus to Dingwall. And this is an interesting one for Willie in terms of process, where there is a penalty awarded, Effetti of Ross County on James Penrice of Hearts. It's then overturned. Let's take a listen and see what we think.
Potentially out of play. It's fine. APP.
Penalty.
On-field decision is a penalty. Okay.
Push in the back, Gavin! Inside the box! On the back, push.
So what I'm seeing is the arms comes across, there's minor push if anything, but the hand comes across, makes contact with the face.
Down, go away! Down, go away!
We've got a slight push.
Okay.
And is it inside?
Ross, just watch an object
Point of contact.
onto
So
the pitch, just
so
6 yards to the left-hand side.
Point of contact is
Object
outside
on the
of the box. So what we now need
I
to
don't
determine
see
is whether or
anything
not we
here.
agree there's a push in the box. Ross, we're just checking it. Bear with us, okay? Okay, so I'm not seeing a push. So what we're going to do is we're going to recommend an on-field review.
Yep.
It's factually outside the box. There is no push.
For the
Ross, it's Gavin. I'm going to recommend an on-field review of the decision that you've given to award the penalty kick. What I'm going to show you is the two players coming together. The initial point of contact is outside the box. What we don't believe we see is a push on the player.
So the hand across the body is outside the box, you tell me?
Yeah, and I can pause it at point of contact for you, which is there.
Okay.
And I can show you it from the other angle, which clearly shows it's outside the box.
Okay, fine.
Number
Outside the box.
24.
Okay, so it's careless contact outside the box.
Yep.
We're going to restart with a direct free kick to Hearts, yeah?
Direct free kick
Okay,
and
thank
no
you.
caution. Are you confirming that? Yep.
Yeah, I confirm.
Yep, thank you.
That's an interesting one, Willie, because in our previous VAR review we spent an awful lot of time on an incident in the League Cup final, talking about inside the box, outside the box, factual decisions, all that sort of stuff. How does this one compare? What's happened in this one?
Let's go back to the League Cup final, and it was a shut pull that continued into the penalty area. Shut pulling is the only offence you can punish at its end point, so to speak. Okay, so if it starts outside the box but continues inside, you punish it. But a tackle or an arm offence like we see here, it's where the initial contact takes place. But you can clearly see in the footage, when paused and slowed down, the initial contact for the foul, what the referee regards as a foul, is outside the box. So the VAR is correct to then say this is factually incorrect. But the big question here, and a lot of people talked about this decision at the time, why then did we bring the referee to the monitor? Why did we come to the monitor at that point? The reason the referee is brought to the monitor is because there is almost another bit of contact with the arm again, but for us it's not punishable, but it's important the referee gets a chance to see that, and that he's then able to make a decision. The initial contact clearly outside, but is there a secondary movement when the players then go in the box? So that's why we covered it here, because there's that other bit of contact, but for us, clearly not punishable. But we need to go back to the very beginning to think, if this offence is the arm offence, and the arm offence only, it's where the contact starts.
Now, just quickly, because I think the KMI panel said they definitely thought this was a penalty. Should this be another good reminder that I mean, well, nothing is set in stone. You will give your take on it, and the KMI panel are allowed to have their say as well. That's why you have these processes, but maybe don't have to take everything as gospel.
You're right, but again, I go back to the benefits of the KMI panel, because we're learning every week in the KMI panel. Well, from a footballing perspective, where I don't agree with the KMI panel here is the KMI panel did feel it was a penalty, you're correct, but they felt as the players went into the penalty area, there was a tangle of the legs. So they were more looking at a foul at lower body, whereas we don't think there's anything punishable there, just the same as we don't think any contact, secondary contact in the box, upper body, is punishable.
OK, to the capital then. What a game it was, you have to say, between Hibs and Rangers. There was a penalty awarded for a challenge by Yanis Hadji of Rangers on Josh Campbell of Hibs. So let's listen to what went into that process and see what Willie thinks.
Good, back live, new APP. Okay, let's see. Okay, John.
He deliberately impedes him before he gets a chance to play the ball. Okay?
Okay, understood. I'll check the replays and come back to you.
Everybody else go away.
So,
Everybody else go away. Aye. He leans into you. Yeah.
For me,
I understand that, but you've heard my explanation, so if it's wrong, we'll go and see it, but I don't think it's
so,
okay.
David, looking at this angle, in my opinion, he comes across, show me from behind, because the defender takes, here we are, so the defender comes in, he gets the wrong side of him, he catches the attacker's both legs between his legs, and so, for me, it's a penalty. Yeah. John, it's Kevin, the APP is clear, you're good to award the penalty, check complete.
All right.
Difficult one this, Willie, because you've seen all sorts of counter-arguments saying that, you know, the Rangers player gets there first and then it's the Hibs player that contacts him. So did they reach the right conclusion there?
There are loads of elements in this decision to consider. A variety of camera angles as well. The referee is well positioned. He's very decisive on the field. He gives a clear explanation to the VAR. I'll go back again to the Motherwell Rangers game, you know, when there was 2 clips. This again is a very subjective decision. If you look at this, you could give reasons why it's a penalty. You know, the upper body contact coming in, the Hibs player's ahead at that point, the Rangers player doesn't touch a ball. Then if you look at the ground level, is there contact for the Hibs player onto the Rangers player? Is that caused by the upper body contact? There's loads of different things to consider here. What we would say, it's subjective. Referee awards a penalty here, there's nothing to bring the referee to the monitor here to overturn that. If the referee decided to play on here, there's also elements to support that decision. So for us, this is very subjective, similar to the previous clips, where we would say, regardless of the on-field decision, we support it.
OK, but that's a couple of incidents now where you've said you would back whatever the original decision is. What about this notion of clear and obvious? Because people just want to see the right decision at the end of the day, do they not?
It's an excellent question, Gordon. We don't want people to think we're hiding behind the clear and obvious, but clear and obvious is crucial for us, because ultimately VAR is not there to re-referee the match. We don't want people sitting in the VAR centre re-refereeing what's happened in the pitch. But really, really importantly, what we're stressing with the match officials just now on field is that their communication must be top level, top drawer. They're telling the VAR, as you can see in many of the incidents today, why they've come to that decision. And if the VAR is looking at these incidents and the pictures are showing that it's accurate, then the decision should be supported, unless the referee is describing something but in law is completely wrong. You know, we would still expect them to bring the referee across, but it's really, really important that people recognise VAR is not there to re-referee football matches.
OK, let's stay with an Edinburgh theme then, because in the Edinburgh Derby, always a big game, every talking point will be scrutinised in that one. Let's take a look at offside and when a player is or isn't interfering with play and get Willie's take on this one.
Now,
offside, potential offside with the player.
Offside? Are you offside? Can't tell whether there's impact or not. We stand there in front of Craig Gordon.
Waiting for on-field decision.
So we're going offside for impact by Rocky.
So
in your opinion, he's offside?
I think
so. I can't tell the line. I know he's definitely offside position, but I can't tell the line about it. He's very close to him from my position. Yeah, so.
Okay, is it on-field decision offside?
Delay, Nick. We're just confirming this.
For me, Sean, there's a bit of contact there, but after that, that goal goes in cleanly for me.
Away.
So what's your initial contact, okay?
John, you can stand and talk to me, pal.
I'm happy awarding a goal. I think the player that's in the offside position is moving away.
I agree with that. So I'm going to have to let Nick make the call on this though, Sean. So
Yes,
it needs to be his decision about whether this has impact or not. For me, there is no impact. Nick, it's John.
Yes.
Nick, I'm going to recommend an on-field review here. So that's the normal incident, normal speed you can see there. Okay, and then I'm going to come behind the goals now. What I'm seeing there, Nick, is Craig Gordon gets a clear, unobstructed look at the ball to make the save, and the defender heads the ball into the net.
There's no touch by the attacker. It's a defender. Even if there is a wee slight touch on the attacker, John, for me, yeah, there is a touch by the attacker. Agreed from that angle there. So now I'm just assessing impact or not from that header there. I think he's got a clear view of the ball. Go back to the freeze on head point. Freeze now. That point there, he's got a clear, unobstructed view of the ball. There's no impact, so I'm going to award a goal. Would you agree?
I agree. Agree with your decision.
What is it you're looking for in that type of incident then, Willie? What is interfering, what's not? Talk us through what happened there.
We're talking here about the Hibs attacker being really close to the Hearts goalkeeper, you know, really line of vision or impacting his ability to play the ball. You can understand why the on-field officials are unsure because it happens so quick. Though I have to say, Gordon, we've worked hard in the last few weeks to talk about early communication. The assistant referee should identify where the Hibs player is early to alert the referee so that he then is tuned into that and can get a focus in that immediately. But the VAR go through a very good process here, and so does the referee when he comes to the monitor. We need to bring the referee to the monitor here because it's subjective. Everybody can tell he's offside, but it's up to the referee, the on-field official, to make a judgment whether he thinks he's in the line of vision or else impeding the ability of the goalkeeper to play the ball there. So when he comes to the monitor, they've reached the right decision. He doesn't just dismiss it, though, immediately. He quickly goes to different angles, also asks the VAR to pause. This is what we want to see at the monitor and make sure we get the right decision. But when you look at this incident on the point of pause, it's absolutely clear that the Hibs attacker is not in any way impacting in the Hearts goalkeeper. So ultimately, this is a correct decision. This is subjective in the sense the referee needs to make the decision. But I want to be quite categorical about this. If the goal had been disallowed here, this would be wrong for us. This is important we get this right. There's nothing in the images when you slow everything down, when you look at the angle behind the goal, to support giving offside here.
Let's go to an incident-packed game in the Highlands between Ross County and St Mirren, and it's our old friend handball. We've debated handball many times, maybe not so much in recent weeks and months. So let's take a look at this one and see what's going on here.
Now,
I don't know what that hat's there, by the way.
Fine. Knee, off his knee, all fine. Back on live, and no touches. Just keep it going. That's all off his shoulder.
Good. That's it, it's all good.
It's alright, ball's in play anyway.
Willie, we have debated handballs many times. I'm sure we will again in the future. What was your take on this one?
So we think there's a clear motion here. I don't think the Ross County player is meaning to handle the ball, but unfortunately his arm movement and then the way he almost grabs or holds the ball in against his opponent, this is a clear penalty kick for us. We would have preferred it given on field. The referee's in a good position, but been there myself where you're looking at an incident, lots is happening, you're trying to judge the grappling, the holding, but here you can see the referee has a view of that. We expect this to be given on field, but if not given on field, we want the referee brought to the monitor. This is a punishable handball. There's a clear movement, a movement towards the ball, and he handles it. Remember again, the intent doesn't matter here. That's irrelevant in this situation. This is definitely punishable. What happens is the VAR has a lot of things to check in this kind of penalty area incident, and they don't focus enough on the handball. You hear the AVAR saying in the comms, I don't know where that hits. They should have dissected it further, looked at it in greater detail and made sure they get a clear view of that handball to then bring the referee to the monitor.
Because the very first VAR review we did, you said you wanted to sort of change the bar of intervention on handballs and try and get a level of consistency. What about the Dundee derby? Because I know there was an incident there as well that I think we can take a quick look at. How does this one fit for you?
We can understand, we have sympathy for the player here because, you know, it's coming over an opponent's head, but clearly the arm's out for the body. Sorry, coming over his own defender's head, close to the Dundee player challenging him as well. But the arm is clearly out. When you look at the different angles here, you could even argue there's a movement towards the ball, albeit that I don't think this is deliberate. What was interesting for me in this game is that the Dundee United player claimed it's hard to tell for the footage, but I actually believe him that it makes contact, the ball with his head before it goes onto the arm. But for us, this is a brush of the head. This is no clearly head on the ball into your arm. So again, I go back to what I've said in previous shows before. Don't always think that if the ball comes for another part of the body, it completely negates the chance of a penalty kick. The arm's too far out for us, clearly in a punishable position, and also any touch in the head here is really irrelevant. It's not a deliberate play onto another part of the body.
And that brings to an end the latest VAR review. Thanks as always to Willie Collum for his insight, his openness, his transparency, and always good to hear the VAR audio as well and get that understanding of how these decisions are reached, even if you don't agree with them. Plenty more to come throughout the season. We will see you next time on the VAR review.